So welcome to another exciting Junior Achievement Earth Week Marine Industries and Beyond, presented by the International Boat Show, Gives Back, and Waste Management. Today, we are literally setting sail with Sheila Schwartz from Lots of Yachts. She is a leader in the luxury yacht charters and marine hospitality. Sheila will share what it's like to navigate the world of high-end boating, from planning unforgettable experiences to running a successful business right here on the water. Let's explore the career possibilities that come with life on the open seas. How are you doing today, Sheila?
I'm doing just well, and even better having you on the boat.
We could not have
to
asked
Odessa.
for a better day. Tell us, how did you get into boating?
Well, originally I was a social worker, and when I kind of burned out of social work, I then went back to graduate school, and I was recruited by the United Nations, and I lived in Africa and Asia and Eastern Europe, and I was out of the country for 12 years. And my parents were immigrants from Eastern Europe and Hungary, and I always remember them loving the Statue of Liberty. And when I came back to New York, I decided I wanted to live on the water. I was a professor of business and entrepreneurship, and I was walking down the West Side Highway in New York one day, and I saw a big purple barge for sale with a houseboat on it. And I said, this is where I want to be. And I wound up buying the barge, and I was still teaching, but people started coming over and saying, great place, can we party here? And that's how it all started. The corporations from Wall Street, and again, celebrities like Cyndi Lauper, Duran Duran, Buster Poindexter, they all wanted to do entertainment on the boat. So that's how I started.
So from social work to Africa to a purple houseboat
Right.
in New York, and now here in South Florida.
Exactly.
What does your day-to-day look like?
Well, it is never predictable. Sometimes I have people call me up at 8 o'clock in the morning that they want to go out in 2 hours, which is what we did yesterday. And sometimes I try and go swimming in the morning. I try and exercise, and then I wind up spending about 4 or 5 hours a day answering emails, doing proposals, seeing clients, and breathing deep.
Deep breathing sounds very
Right.
important for all of those tasks. So we need to back up a little bit, I think, here. Lots of Yachts. Tell us, what does your company offer?
Well, our company is twofold. It is Lots of Yachts. We manage and market over 30 boats between here in New York, the Caribbean, and the Med. And then we also have a destination company called Lots of Spots. And that is land locations, preferably on the water, mansions, townhouses, lofts, restaurants. And we do everything from one-stop shopping, planning a wedding, being a wedding planner, to bachelorette parties, to major corporate events where we'll do the hotels and the activities outside the hotels, to also doing even memorials at sea. So we do everything from corporate events to personal events to charity events to quinientos.
What a wide range of services you
It
offer.
is.
It sounds like I could call you up for just about anything, and
You
you'd be able to make
can.
it the best event ever.
You can, if you want to do a memorial service for your dog. We've even done that.
You name it. You name it. Was there someone or something other than the purple houseboat that inspired you to get into this business?
No, I just wanted to live on the water in New York City.
Very good. Now, speaking a little bit about Earth Week, how do your yacht events promote awareness about the marine ecosystem and conservation of our ecosystem?
Well, first of all, every boat that we use has to be Coast Guard inspected and Coast Guard certified, and whether they're boats for 2 people or boats for 500 people. So they all have to meet the national and Coast Guard codes for pollution controls, for septic controls, and more there are more procedures being put in place to create a very natural environment. That's one thing. Secondly, we try not to use too much plastic. Thirdly, we are very aware of what people want to see. If they want to see the manatees, if they want to see the dolphins, they want to see the birds, they want to go swimming at Peanut Island or Munyon Island. We tend to really give them some lectures and some lessons on ecology and environmental concerns.
How wonderful. So you're following all of Coast Guard approved regulations, but also teaching while you're on the water.
Right.
Did you, as a child, did you think that you were going to be in this industry and in this line of work?
Not at all. Although I spent every summer on the Jersey Shore, I was never on a boat till I came to Florida.
What did you want to be
Or
when
my
you were a
own.
child?
I really didn't want to. I didn't have a career. I was trained to be a teacher and get married at a very early age. Those were my parents' generations. But I rebelled and I didn't follow that. I was a child of the 60s when it was Betty Friedan and women were very not permitted to do a lot of things.
Well, it sounds like you've been able to explore the world since.
Yes, and that was one of my first goals. I really wanted to travel and see the world. I mean, I was very lucky to have worked in China, and in the 80s, I was lucky have uh, to have been to many places that were not developed and now are being developed. In fact, next week I'm going to Zanzibar, and I'm going to be working on a coastal project in Zanzibar.
Tell us about this project. This is news to me. We've been chatting for some time now.
Yeah. Well, I'm a volunteer in coastal projects, so I was asked to go to Zanzibar for a week. Where it's kind of my second trip around.
Sheila, can you tell us about one of maybe the most unique or memorable events that you've hosted?
Well, I think one of the most unique events was we did George Soros' 65th birthday party in Sag Harbor in Long Island. And we had 250 people on a yacht. We had a 25-piece band, and we had duck flown in from Hungary. And we had to have the whole town of Sag Harbor blocked off for 2 days to orchestrate this.
Wow, that really sounds like quite the party. What type of skills do you think are, if we have students out there that are looking to get into this type of industry, what type of skills do you think would be important, and what skills do you possess that make you so successful?
Well, I think skills that are needed are very attention to detail. For example, with the George Soros party, the caterer forgot the dessert spoons. So we had to hire a private helicopter to fly back to New York to the caterer's commissary to pick up the dessert spoons.
You certainly need a dessert spoon to serve dessert, right?
Right. And so you really need attention to detail. You need somebody who can really understand where the client is coming from and offer suggestions, but hear what the client really wants. And you need somebody who can orchestrate a budget, whether it's $50 or $5,000. And we do a lot of the low end parties too: graduations, project graduations, bar mitzvahs, birthday parties for 8-year-olds. Teenage bachelorette parties, whatever. So you need somebody who has a full understanding of what the client wants. You need to have a good crew around you, whether it's captains, mates, boat people, mechanics, and you need to have somebody who knows the laws of the sea and also of the venues.
Well, it sounds like there are quite a bit of skills, and you speak about collaboration and teamwork and surrounding yourself with others. What do you think is the most important thing with working with others?
Understanding what their needs are and what the laws are, and also understanding how we can all help each other.
I love that. What type of schooling or training have you had to prepare you for this work?
I have had nothing in the hospitality
Nothing.
industry.
You speak about you were
30
social worker
years,
previously.
except 30 years. I just have always learned to catch as catch can and do and reinvent yourself and listen to others and try and also offer your own advice.
What great advice you have, and the wealth of experience that you bring to this industry. Are there any, so for students who are looking to get into this industry, are there any specific advice that you would give them, or specific courses that you would recommend that they take in school?
Well, if they are studying hospitality, and this is part of the hospitality, if they're studying marine activities, I would always suggest that people take a boating course. Also, learning about budget, learning around decor, learning about how to put all the pieces together, whether it is the budget, whether it is the entertainment, whether it is the ability to interpret the laws and interpret the weather on boats, and to really make people feel comfortable.
How wonderful. I know that if you make money, you need to know how to manage that money. Can you speak a little bit about the entrepreneurship and business owning?
Um, You always have to have enough money at least to be able to run your business and pay your bills. Sometimes you can barter, sometimes you can be on a low end budget. I always try and match everybody's budget, whether it's somebody who is 13 years old and wants to have a bar mitzvah on a boat, and that's been their dream. And they can eat box lunches and go on a
Sounds great to
catamaran
me.
if they want. So we try and manage budgets. We try and really work around those parameters.
How wonderful. Well, thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to meet with us. One other last question for you. What is the best part of your job?
The best part of the job is to have everybody walk off happy, whether it's the crew, whether it's the guests, whether it's the person for whom the party is, whether it's the corporation, and for them to say, we'll be back again.
And I'm sure that they're going to continue to come back,
We
not
hope
only
so.
for the boats, but most of all for the service and that experience that you provide them.
I hope so.
We are so excited to be on the Odyssey with Captain Roman. So we're going to learn a little bit about what it takes to be a captain. How are you doing today, Captain?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I could not be better, really.
It's a beautiful day.
It sure is. So some people work in an office.
Yeah.
Some people work in a cubicle or drive a car or, Publix. There's many, many different jobs out there.
There are.
Is this your office?
This is my office now.
Well,
not anything of what my office used to be like, because I was in a cubicle type of situation, but here it is, a different part.
How did you get to this point?
You know what? I was dreaming about this for about 20 years, and circumstances kept me away from that. But 2 years ago, I was able to sell my house in New York, bought a boat, and came down to Florida and started a boat charter business because I love being on the water. I've had a boat in New York for some 30 years, but it was a small private boat, smaller boat. And then I came here and said, why not take people out on the water? Do what I enjoy.
Tell us, what does your day look like for work?
What does the day look like? There's a lot of cleaning on a boat, a lot of maintenance with a boat.
So it's not just driving around.
No, it's not all glamour. There's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes. But once people board, it's, I liken it to, I just thought about Fantasy Island, where everybody's preparing for these people to come on the island. They work and work behind the scenes. And then when the people come, it's all entertainment. So you provide people with entertainment.
Where have you gone with your boat?
Well, my first trip with the boat, I bought it in Connecticut, and I drove it down here to Florida. That was a 6-day trip where I was doing 12 and a half hours of driving every day. I had another captain with me, so 2 of us did it together. And then after that, the majority of the time, people like to go up to Jupiter from here, from West Palm. They like to see Peanut Island, so we go around Peanut Island. People like to swim. So if the weather's a little choppy outside, I anchor up in front of Peanut Island, and we swim there. I have a platform so they can jump on a platform. We have, different, sometimes people like to snorkel and all that. If the weather's nice, the ocean's nice, I take them out just on the other side of the inlet here at Lake Worth Inlet, and we anchor up there, and they swim there. It's more private, to do that. Other than that, people like going down to seeing the super yachts, down towards, Clematis. They want to see the, center of West Palm. Then we come back and we make a trip up to Jupiter. We'll stop off. Some people like to stop off at a restaurant, maybe have a little lunch on the way, or buy lunch and bring it on the boat and continue on. Many people like to do the end trip there is to go to the lighthouse in Jupiter. So people like to see that. And then, of course, right across from the lighthouse, pretty much, you have all these different restaurants. Utiki, which happens to be one of my favorite restaurants. And then, of course, Michael Jordan has his restaurant, 1000 North. So people like, sometimes get off the boat, have a drink, just experience things, and then we come back. But it's a relaxing day. So it's a visual day where people get to just see the area, see all the expensive homes on the Intracoastal, and just relax.
You're giving people their best day ever, it sounds like to me.
I don't know if it's their best day ever, but we give them a good day. I have not had any people walk off the boat unhappy. Ooh. So I feel like I've completed my job. That's my job.
Well, you bring smiles to people. So how about that? What would you say is the best part of being a boat captain?
Well, one, I enjoy being on the water. And two, I'm a social person, so I enjoy interacting with the people. And that's why, it's enjoyment here is because of the interactions. So I hear people's stories, what they did, where they came from. And it's a nice time just to share stories. And then that gives me a lot of happiness.
Is it all wonderful? Are there any challenges that you face along the way?
Luckily, no challenges so far.
What about the weather? What happens if you go out on the water?
I'll tell you an interesting charter that I had. We had a bridal shower here, bachelorette party. And what happened, it was pouring rain. And all of a sudden, we didn't know what to do. But we closed the boat. Music was blaring inside here, and there were 13 girls just dancing and having a great time. And it turned into a great charter, one of the best charters I had. And the rain was pouring the whole time.
So a little rain can't ruin the party.
No, no, not at all.
No.
Not at all. You're on a boat.
How about that?
Yeah.
So for students out there who are thinking about a career in the marine industry or really just looking to achieve their goals, what advice do you have for our next generation?
Well, here's what you need to do. I mean, it's not all fun because, as a captain, you're responsible for the people who are on the boat. So, I mean, like for me, obviously, I went and got a captain's license. So to run a charter, you need a captain's license. It's a 2-week course. I went to NPT down in Fort Lauderdale. And as I say, a captain really is responsible for people. So it's a serious job. Even though I enjoy talking to people, you need to stay focused. You need to be aware of other boats on the water. You need to be aware of anything floating in the water. You need to look at your instrumentation, make sure the engines are running fine. So there's a lot that goes into it, not just fun and games. So what I would suggest, I mean, experience boating. Find somebody who has a boat. Maybe stew on that boat to get into the whole aspect of boating. And as you become familiar, you might want to go get a captain's license then and do this on your own. But a lot of it is learning, and there's plenty of people there who I think would welcome you on board to stew to help out.
Great advice for our students. Can you show us? This is very intense technology, lots of screens.
Oh,
can you show us around your dashboard a little bit?
I can show you a little bit. I mean, this is actually the Ray Marine, so it actually maps out. This is going to take a little while to load up. But it maps out the area. So what you do, essentially, you follow, it's a road map, of such.
It's our GPS.
Your GPS,
yes.
Right. And then what you need to do, though, because not everything is up to date on a Ray Marine. This isn't the latest of the technologies, but it's good. And you need to keep track of your channel markers. So you need to know what side, the red channel markers are, what side the green channel markers are. You need to stay in between those.
Yeah.
You don't want to veer off, because many times, especially in this area here, there's shallow water. We're around Peanut Island. If you veer off a little bit in low tide, you can hit bottom, and that's not a good thing for anybody.
That would be a challenging day.
That would be a challenging day. Okay, so here, let me accept this, and I'll show you what the, this has to load up as well.
And you have a lot of buttons here. This would be like a kid's dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, these buttons
here. Depth finder, I'm thinking, is probably one of them.
Depth
so that we don't get
important.
grounded against the sandbar.
That is absolutely correct. Okay. And it's waiting.
That's okay.
It's loading. But nonetheless, here we can zoom in. Say, for instance, this one here. We can zoom in so we see the location we're at right now. This is Safe Harbor, Newport Cove. And then if you move this a little bit, you'll notice this is like a road map, so people can follow the road map. The channel markers are on here. So as you're driving, you're making sure you see the channel marker that's actually on the map. And then you just, essentially follow a road map. I mean, here you have a bridge. And you continue. And this is the trip actually up from here up to Jupiter. So we continue doing that. And from here to Jupiter, it's about an hour and 40 minutes, more or less, to get up there. And again, it's all picturesque, and you get to see a lot of the homes, and it's a relaxing time.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your knowledge about being a boat captain. We appreciate it.
Well, I thank you very much for asking me. Pleasure.
Sheila, we spoke about your knowledge, your experience, everything that you've done to get to where you are today. And I found out that you're a yes person, that you're willing to take that risk, that you're willing to try new things. You talked a little bit about the skills that are needed to open up a business such as Lots of Yachts. Can you talk a little bit about the characteristics that are important for this?
Well, I think for somebody who's in this field, you have to really like people. You have to really listen to what people are saying, and then also listen to what you would recommend. You have to be flexible. If somebody says to you, swab the deck, take out the garbage, as well as captain the boat, you have to be able to do all of that. And you have to read between the lines what people are really expecting of you and what people really want. You have to be a bit agile. You have to know how to move on a boat. You have to also address concerns of people. What happens if we get seasick? What happens if we're in a storm? I was once in a tornado and we had to pull over into the mangroves and really make people calm while the tornado passed. So you have to be a jack of all trades. It's not just putting your job in one peg.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing. You can see that there's many, many skills and characteristics necessary to be successful, not only in this industry, but in life, right?
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. So I cannot thank you enough. I mean, this is my job, folks. I get to come out and hang out with people like Sheila and Captain Roman. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for allowing me to come out today. We also want to thank the Palm Beach International Boat Show Gives Back and Waste Management for making this possible. Students, I hope you enjoyed this glimpse into the exciting world of yachting, charters, and marine entrepreneurship. There's many, many careers on the water that could be adventurous, and it seems pretty rewarding. So stay with us throughout the week for more career journeys because they're coming soon.